Hey, welcome everybody. I'm Ryan Steva here with my co-host Jared Wilson. We are doing our Resilient Living podcast, where we're really just trying to build community and help our community become more resilient through, community interaction as well as talking about topics that help everybody think through different situations you might deal with. And today we're going to be talking about something called trade-offs. And I think I'm going to lead this show off with throwing out a quote from Thomas Sowell that we're both fond of, which
Yes.
is, there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. And we're kind of going to dig into what that means. So how are you doing, Jared?
I'm doing all right. It's been a good
Good.
day.
Awesome. Well, when you hear that quote, what's the first thing that crosses your mind? What do you think of?
Me personally, and we were just talking right before, is cars. We there's no perfect solution. Whether you buy a used car or a new car, there's just a trade-off. You're trading off having to do all of the maintenance when you buy a new car, but then you have the additional cost of buying a new car versus buying a cheap car. And then there's varying degrees of how cheap that car is. And that varying degrees of how cheap it is usually results in how much maintenance and fuss you have to deal with, whether it's, transmissions going out or, whatever. So that's in my mind, one of the easier, more understandable and relatable ways of looking at that dynamic.
Yeah, I think it's one of those quotes that's like, it makes you stop and think. And it, in a really good way, it makes you stop and think about, what does that actually mean and how does that apply to my life?
Right. And it's really good because it does apply honestly, in every aspect of our life. There's always a trade-off. There's no perfect solution. This side of heaven, we live in a fallen world. We can't really expect it to be anything other than a fallen world. And so there's always going to be a trade-off. We strive for the best, but perfection is not happening.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always it's like a better trade-off, right?
Yeah.
Or there should be, you've got to think about, if I adjust this one thing, then it affects this other thing. And
Yes.
so everything is interconnected in such a way that you don't get to just make the best decision. You
Nope.
have to make the best decision you can, given all the extenuating circumstances.
And you're limited by just what you know, and the dependencies that you're aware of. There's inevitably
Right.
going to be dependencies that you didn't know about that you're going to find out about.
I think one of the ways that we grow in wisdom over time is to see all the different things that what we do and the decisions we make, how that interacts and interplays with the other consequences. And consequences aren't always negative, right?
No,
Like,
that's true.
consequences can be a positive thing. It just means what the outcome is from the given action. And I think a big part of wisdom is being able to see those interactions of the consequences of the choices that we make, whether that's a tiny choice every day, not to buy the expensive coffee, and to rather maybe invest that money or take that money and use it towards something that's actually valuable,
Sure.
or whatever that thing may be. We can start to see what is not just what is the financial consequence in the long run, but what are the other consequences? Does it train our brain to be more able to you know hold back on getting the thing we want for the
Mm,
more important thing?
delayed gratification, or yeah.
Yep, that's the term. Couldn't think of it. So, and it's interesting too. There's a guy named Charlie Munger. He's passed away a while ago now, but I think he was kind of like second to who's the owner of Berkshire Hathaway.
Oh,
Warren Buffett.
yeah.
Yeah. So he had this quote, Charlie Munger did, that went something along the lines of, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome.
Right.
Because what he was doing was he was looking at what is the human incentive towards something, and he could actually tell you what the outcome would be based on how all the interplays between the incentives worked.
Sure.
So
Yeah. No, that makes good sense.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. Another quote from a brilliant person.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think another way of looking at this is, or another way of processing it is the idea of time versus money, right?
Yes. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because you could go out and make all your own rope and not pay a dime for it, right? But
The amount of
um,
time that takes is
yeah,
ridiculous. And it's like, yes, you can, but like, is that really where you want to spend your time?
yeah,
Because time is the only real commodity we can't recover.
right.
Everything else we can recover. That one, you can't get it back.
On the other hand, the knowledge is the trade-off worth it, right?
Sure,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah, having that
what else?
experience of learning how to do it, fantastic. Do it. Go for it. Go to a weekend. Make your rope and you know how to do it. Awesome.
Yep. And what else does your brain then start putting together, right?
Sure.
Like, how
Yeah,
does the
how
physical world?
sinews interact with each other and tensions work and how all of this. Yeah, and we've talked a lot about how the different things that we've learned accumulate and interact with each other in our minds and can potentially lead us to thoughts, discoveries, innovations, inventions that wouldn't have been possible otherwise if we didn't have this amalgam of all of these random experiences and knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, so I do this, but maybe some of the audience members don't. I do a segment for a podcast called the Survival Podcast, which is
Yeah,
a much larger than our podcast.
we'll
Um,
get there. We'll get there.
so I do a segment weekly, and a lot of times my sign off is go get your hands dirty.
Hey, there you go. I like that.
Part of it is a bit of a pun because it's like, getting your hands dirty is this innuendo that you're going to do something bad. But part of it, what it really is saying like, go actually put your hands in the dirt
Right.
and figure out, there's a, I don't know, millennial idea of, whatever, of touch grass. And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, sure, whatever, it's overused, but actually getting your hands in the dirt, not only are there just general benefits for you, so there's a trade-off there, um, it helps you learn how things function, how the physical world works. And if your hands
Absolutely.
are dirty, it means you went and did something that you probably learned from.
Yeah. Right. Good or bad, you learn what not to do, or you learn what to do.
Right.
Both beneficial.
So, um, do you have any thoughts on like why it's important to understand trade-offs? Like what are some things that make it actually really important to understand and realize that trade-offs exist?
Sure. So, and we talked a little bit. I was thinking about like raising kids. Um, as a young father, I had this idealistic idea of I need to become the perfect father. I need to become raise my children the perfect way so that they don't have to struggle. They don't have to have all of the issues. There is no such thing. There are absolutely better ways and worse ways of raising kids, but there is no perfect way of raising kids.
Right.
Um, the best thing I can do is be the best man that God created me to be, to have the servant's heart, to pursue righteousness, to do all of those things. I am a fallen person though, so I'm gonna fail. They can learn from that, and I
Mhm.
should be vulnerable enough to show them, hey, look, I screwed up, because that's good for them to learn. Because again, they're fallen, and so the idea that there is the perfection um, can be discouraging and like, oh, I'm screwing up because I haven't figured out this perfect way of doing it.
Right.
And that's what I want to encourage everyone is you're never going to get there, not to not pursue that and not to not learn from those who are doing a good job. But don't hold yourself to that high level that is not obtainable. Your kids are not going to come out perfect. They are going to come out scarred. They are. Um, we teach them how to deal with those things. We show them as best we can. Um, but that's so my encouragement in that is don't expect perfection in being a parent
Yeah.
or in any other aspect of your life.
Well, there's so much in humility in being a parent in
Yeah,
that
it
if
should be.
yeah, there should be. And when I make a mistake, if I'm able to go to my kids and say, "I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Here's
Hey,
the
look, I
mistake I
screwed
made."
up. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they can stand on my shoulders as opposed to being doomed to make the same mistakes.
Right.
And then, maybe hopefully they'll realize they shouldn't have done that and they can apologize for it. But we can do that, right?
Sure.
You and I can do that
Mhm.
and give them the opportunity of standing on our shoulders as opposed to, walking in our footsteps.
Yeah. Something that I've rather recently discovered of myself and that I'm trying to get better at is I suck at asking for help.
Mhm.
I have spent my entire life um, being the help that I don't like to. I don't know if it's a pride thing or what it is. It's just something. Part of my brain. Like I don't want to ask for help. I don't want to either. I don't want to inconvenience somebody, or I want them to just see me struggling and just volunteer to help. I don't know what it is. I'm screwed up. I am. But it's something that I'm now more aware of, and so I was thinking about actually thinking about this podcast was I want my kids to know one that it's okay to ask for help. It's
Mhm.
okay to admit to yourself, I don't got this.
Yep.
And to seek out help from people who love me, who are gifted in a certain way or whatever. That's a good thing. So then like, I lean on you like, hey, I don't know animals, I don't know plants, I need help, right?
Yeah.
So and that's something that I want to encourage everybody also is and that's why we talk so much about community is you need to have community. You need to be able to lean on one another. You need to be able to admit you don't know it, and that's okay. It's okay for you to not know something and not
Yep.
be the expert.
Yeah. I've had to work really hard at getting better at, like, even just in doing consults. I'm coming in as the
Expert.
homestead consultant. I'm
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
in as the expert. And I've had to get better at going, I don't know. You know,
Mhm.
I'll the like, what is this plant? I'm like,
Uh,
I don't know.
don't need it.
I don't know every plant. That's not my realm. And realizing that, for me, I'm kind of a really broad, get deep on a few topics kind of person.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
right.
how did Franklin put it? Um, Jack of all trades.
Ace of
Um,
none.
yeah, but it was something more like master of some.
Oh
Like
yeah, right.
he had some way of putting it where it's different than we quote it now.
Sure.
Um, and I think it's important to have that broad understanding, but also to go, I don't understand it all. You
Right.
know, I don't know what like I can tell you what the name of that plant is, but I can't tell you what it does when you put it in a tincture
Sure.
or, um
And
there's just
awesomely, there are people who do know that, and that's
yeah.
great to have those at your disposal.
And a lot of times when I'm doing a consult or, talking with somebody, I start to realize that that person knows more than I do about something.
Sure. And
Um,
that's the trade-off. You
yeah,
know more about certain things than they do because you have focused more of your time, your resources, your life into that pursuit at the cost of other things. So
yeah,
it's just a matter of prioritization. You have prioritized certain things because of necessity, because of just personal interest, whatever it may be, that was different for them. And that's
right.
awesome because that's how we work together as a community is we fit together. We aren't called to be these well-rounded things. I like to think about gears. A well-rounded gear is useless. We
Mhm.
need to have those sharp, focused interests because those things are what actually mesh together and allow that movement and allow that functionality. If we're well-rounded, we're not going to be very effective.
Right. That, reminded me, I don't think I can't find it.
Oh,
Oh, there it is. I
what you got?
only there yeah, it's a picture. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up here, so maybe I'll have you start talking again if you get a minute, but, it's of schools working students, parents, teachers working together. It's
Oh,
hilarious. as
Well,
gears.
I was gonna
So,
say, because education, that's another perfect example. So, we homeschool our kids. And that's really what a wonderful opportunity that we have. And it is, again, it's a trade-off. Um, we're able to focus. We're able to dive down those rabbit holes and explore ideas. Once I taught my daughter the idea of a rabbit hole, oh my goodness, the world exploded for her. Like she's like, wait, what? Like, no, no, just dive down this. Like, let's see how education works best when all parts are working. Okay, so if you understand gears and how gears function, that's really funny.
yeah. Yep. For anybody who is not well versed in gears, these gears can literally not turn.
They're completely bound up.
Yeah, they're completely bound or locked. So it's just, anyways, when you mention gears working and well
Gosh.
rounded, and
I understand their intent with this, but that was poorly executed. Oh,
yeah, well, by public
perfect. That's
school
so perfect. Yes.
education, everything about it is perfect.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, sorry. Anyways, you were noting
You're good. You're good.
homeschooling.
Yes, it's a great opportunity to, but again,
Yeah.
handoff, or trade-offs. We end up focusing a whole bunch of time diving down these rabbit holes and like, well, we didn't get any math done today. Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that because typically, honestly, even in public school, if you really think about it, so you have 45 minutes for a subject. How much time is actually spent doing that subject? 15, 20
Mhm.
minutes? Like really? Same thing in homeschool. It's about 15, 20 minutes. It really doesn't take a huge amount of time to
No,
accomplish a lot of work. Um,
especially when you've got, two students that you're working hand in hand with,
oh yeah.
and you're like, here, do this little thing. Here's the little instruction you need to understand it. I'll leave
Yep.
you by yourself for a few minutes. If you have a question, ask me.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, I usually sit with my son, and go through, math, while my daughter's, doing English or something that she can really focus on and doesn't require a lot of interaction. Um, just so that I can focus with him and accomplish what it is we need to accomplish. And yeah, we're done in, half hour, 45 minutes on that one. And we move on to, whatever else, history or English or whatever. Well, I don't do English. 'Cause I don't English well. Um, I'll leave that to Megan. She's my kids have so much of an understanding of like the rules. I didn't want to know any of the rules. I just memorized. I just memorized everything. Like, nah, I'm not gonna learn the rules. My kids actually, they'll teach me things like, oh no, that's because there's this helper E, and that's why that says it's, that vowel says its name. Like, oh, is that why that does that? I was like, I was wondered why.
yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm bad at English. Trade off,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I
No,
focused
and
on math and science.
and
Not
public
English.
schools are a great example of trade-offs, right? Because,
Yeah.
you know, we could send our kids to public school and there could be a benefit to us, right?
Yeah.
Public school is free
Yep.
and our
You have
kids
time.
are, yep, our kids would be busy for a while. So then, it'd free us up to work, a spouse up to work or somebody
Yep.
else up to work harder, longer, more hours. You know, in one sense, it's a really convenient way to function.
It
Uh,
is. Yeah.
it brings a certain convenience. Um, there's a lot of downsides,
Yeah. I mean, you
and
don't get to know your kids and you don't get to be there with them as they discover these new things or they have these questions and concerns. Yeah, no, there's a lot of trade-offs in my opinion, and that's why we have chosen to homeschool is
yeah.
because I prioritize certain things maybe differently than other people. And that's not to shame them for not homeschooling.
Well, and our society has been built such that having a two income home
Is
is,
essential.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
it was kind of like women were liberated so that then
To
they'd
become another
be,
taxpayer.
yeah, they can be, and it's like, can we not go all the way to the other side of this?
Yeah,
Right.
right. Another
Um,
trade-off.
yeah,
Swing one way,
exactly.
swing the other way.
Yeah. And if it's couched in the right argument, it sounds great. But
Mm,
the reality is that nobody's been liberated from anything because we're all now tax slaves.
yeah.
So, uh, you know, take that how you will. But yeah, I mean, for me, my thought is, why would I have children if I want to turn them over to somebody else to educate?
Yep.
And it might sound a little extreme to some, but think through this quote. It's from Malcolm X. Um, something like it's the I'm not going to get it quite right, but something along the lines of it's the epitome of stupidity um, to allow your enemy to educate your children.
Oh,
Yeah, I should look it up, but it's very interesting. And enemy sounds like a harsh word, but the reality is that our public school systems are not out for our kids' best interests. They're out for, the administrator's paycheck.
only
Or
a
for
fool would let his enemy teach his children.
There we go.
Ouch.
Yeah. And I don't think, I mean, I think people need to be aware that we're not talking about somebody that we're, like, an enemy that's a foreign adversary or something like that we're going to war with. But
No.
when our values are almost entirely inverse.
Yeah, we are at enmity with the opposing viewpoints or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even just, I want my kids to be curious.
Yeah.
I want my kids to ask questions, to think critical thoughts, to have it explained gently and kindly when they're wrong, or help them understand that maybe they're wrong or that they are right in some way, rather than just rote memorization and copying what I want them to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Regurgitation of her. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
no, why? I don't
Right.
care about what. That's one of the issues my son has with mathematics. He'll give me the answer. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's nice. Why? Show me. Prove
Right.
it. Show me. Like, I told him, like, I honestly don't care if you get the wrong answer. I don't. If you can show me that you understand the concept of why you arrive at an answer, we're good. You'll be fine. You can make mistakes. That happens. I get it. If you understand why,
Yep.
you'll be fine.
Yeah, one of the things that drove me nuts, because I was homeschooled up until high school, and then I went to a private school.
Okay.
And in math class, they wanted all of your work shown, which
Right.
I understand the purpose, but so the two things that I really struggle with in being, I don't want to label myself, but dyslexic is probably the most accurate description of how my brain works. So reading and memorizing are the things that I most struggle with.
Sure.
If it's a concept and my brain can understand how the pieces go together,
Yep.
I'm great.
Yeah.
If it's here's the exact, I can't do it. So for me, math was, I'd put it together, like I'd understand the purpose of the formula. And so then instead of memorizing it, I understood how the formula worked.
Yeah.
So I could jump in at any point of that formula and go from there.
Yeah.
And so I could bypass huge amounts of work.
Sure.
And it wasn't because I was wanting to bypass work. It was because I literally couldn't memorize the formula. So, I'm sitting there getting hammered points wise because I don't have but I'm like, look, I've got the formula. I just did a little bit of it in my head.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Anyways, that's what our kids are constantly being bombarded with in school, and sometimes even with homeschool, because we're trying to imitate the traditional school system, but just do it better. Just do it more rigorous.
That's not
the
point. We're not designed to work that way. We're not designed to learn that way.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh man, I think
still a measure of creativity and like the best thing that my parents taught me was to desire knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Once they had instilled that, the world was my oyster, and like I could, they would cut me loose at the library, and I would just like I go find whatever weird interest I had, and I would just delve down that rabbit hole, and I learned all kinds of weird things. And that's what I'm trying to get my kids to understand. It's like, once you love learning and you love pursuing knowledge, my job's done.
Yeah.
Like you're good.
Isn't there a proverb about that?
Something about that. Yeah.
Pursue wisdom.
Pursue wisdom. Yeah.
Where should it be found? Yeah, I mean, there's so much value in that,
Mhm.
and maybe we're beating a dead horse at this point, but when you look at the public schooling system, it was to create compliant workers, not to create, you know, people who people who thought for
Thought
themselves
for themselves. Exactly. Yes.
or had any interest, honestly.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
I think when because my question to you was, why is it important to understand trade-offs?
Mm.
Um, and for me, a big part of it is I think it's really important to understand that there isn't a best way. There's the best way given my goals or the best way
Yeah.
given circumstances,
Sure.
but there's always a trade-off within that.
Mhm.
So,
And
um,
acknowledging and understanding what that trade-off is really important.
mhm,
Um, so I have an issue with analogies because of their inherent limitations.
yes.
But if the inherent limitation is expressed alongside that analogy, it become that explanation becomes incredibly robust. And same thing is true with our how we prioritize things. If we are prioritizing, let's go to from a homesteading perspective. We're on prioritize meat production. We understand that there are inherent limitations that come along with that dependency on outside foods, dependency on vets, dependency upon whatever else. If we go into it with that understanding, okay, I'm gonna be able to do this, but it's gonna cost me. I'm gonna have to provide this. If you talk to anybody who's especially specialized in any agricultural anything, they're gonna tell you, oh, gotta watch out for, and they're gonna be able to name every one of those limitations. So when you
Mhm,
go into it eyes open, understanding those limitations, you're good, really. You have to understand there's no perfect. It's like, oh, well, if I had only gotten into goats instead of sheep, I wouldn't have any problems. No, just
nope.
different problems. Now, you
Mhm,
may be more equipped to deal with those problems, but there's going to be problems no matter what.
yep. No, that's exactly right. In, whether it's water collection, what kind of water you're gonna use for your off-grid household,
Yeah,
right?
what's
Are
your
you gonna
purpose in the water? Is it just
Yeah.
agriculture? Is it going to be, for your family? Mhm.
Yeah, are you gonna drill a well? Are you gonna use water capture? Are you going
How
to
are you
use
storing
plume
it?
capture? How are you storing it? How are
How are
you
you cleaning
transmitting
it?
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. All the
but
things.
yeah, um, I had somebody recently who had a well on like a good well on their property,
Nice.
and they were talking about water catchment from the roof, and I'm like,
Why are you doing that?
"You can do that. Like, that's fine. Backup, right? I'm fine with I'm good with
Yeah, yeah.
backups. 2 is 1, 1 is none, all
Right.
that jazz. But let's focus on getting your well running and providing your whole system with water, and then maybe some collection for backup. Or maybe
Sure.
we think about instead of we're going to store the water from our roof in a tank, we're going to store the water from our roof in the soil. And how do we do that?
Yeah.
So it is a like when we're thinking about trade-offs, there are oftentimes better options for your goals. And so if your goal is having good clean water for all the things you need, then your solution is probably going to be the well.
Yeah.
And down the road, when you have enough money, because money and time are always limitations, then maybe look at secondary water capture systems from your roof as a actual means of water storage in case your well dries up or whatever happens. It's just a good option.
Yes. Absolutely.
So um, so what are some ways that have helped you make better decisions by understanding trade-offs
Ooh,
or understanding that trade-offs exist?
understanding the trade-offs exist. Huh. So this is a hard one because this is where my research paralysis. What was your expression for that one? Um,
I'm not sure.
um, I get stuck because
Analysis
yeah,
paralysis.
that one.
Yeah.
I get stuck because I know there's no perfect solution. I want to find the very best possible solution, and I try to outthink the spider web of all the interactions. And I get so bogged down in those details, and I don't want to move until I figured it out. And it's something that I definitely have struggled with, is just moving forward without doing all of the research, and just kind of like, you know what, we're just going to pray about this one. Like, God, what is it that you want us to prioritize here? And we'll just move forward, and I'll learn some of those dependencies as we go forward, I guess, which is kind of backwards from what we're talking about. But otherwise, I just get so hey, bro. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm glad.
No, I do
Uh,
too. I've I've gotten better at just going like, okay, I have a certain intuition. I've seen this before.
yeah.
I'm going to pull the trigger on this thing, and that helps. And seeing that turn out, actually,
And it
sorry,
kinda
I know
works
I.
because, like, it's not, I know that the perfect solution doesn't exist,
Mhm.
and that I, no matter what, I can't really outthink everything. Even though I try to, I kind of arrogantly pride myself upon, being able to outthink everything. I can't. So, at some point, you just kinda gotta move forward, and, you know and like you said, it's intuition. It's like, I think this is gonna work at least 80%. And if you can 80%, you're really good. I mean, like, really honestly, that last 20%, yes, you could probably eke out those last little bits, but is it really necessary? Is it really worth it? Maybe if you really, really need to, but hopefully probably not.
Yeah, I think oftentimes it isn't, and we do that. We overthink. I'm definitely guilty of it, of going, okay, this thing, that thing, how do they mesh? So absolutely, and sometimes being good at just pulling the trigger and really going whole hog to get that thing done, and then deciding if you can tie in other portions as well. So that's, yeah, I think it's important to have some realization that there's going to be a certain amount of intuition that you just have to go with
Well,
and
and
make
and
a
then
decision
leaning on other people that have been there and
on.
done it, and or are subject matter experts on various aspects, like you.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and one of the other things that so in troubleshooting and teaching people the concept of troubleshooting, which we've talked about, you guys should go back and watch the podcast on it. Um, is to tell people, look at somebody else's issue, look at
oh,
somebody else's problem,
it's so
not
much
with
easier
judgment.
to fix their problem than to
Yeah.
see your own problem in it.
Yeah. So fix their problem that's similar, totally disconnected from yours,
Yeah,
and then go and look at, okay, what was my solution for them and why?
sure.
And then
Oh, I've
it's
I've had
easier to.
so many vehicle issues because okay, I'm not a mechanic, but I'm mechanically inclined.
You dabble.
That it Yeah, I dabble. If it had been your vehicle that had that issue, I'd been all over it. Like, "Oh, yeah, let's get this done. We'll order that part, or we'll fix that. I'll weld this up. We'll I'll fabricate something." Like, it's my vehicle. It's like, it's fine. Like, yeah, I know it's grinding away, but, like, yeah, I can't, I don't, I want to get it perfect. I want to buy the right part, and I want to do the research. Like, I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah. This was interesting. I like
Oh,
this. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think God doesn't waste pain. I think that's true. I think there's a lot of like theology bound up in like, does God create? Does God,
oh, yeah, yeah,
manifest or like allow pain? How does that exactly work?
right.
But no, it's true. I think that regardless of where you fall on that scale,
Mhm.
um, he uses it if we're willing to be submissive to what he wants to teach us
Yeah.
and willing to listen and hear in what he's trying to do. He uses it. It's somebody used a phrase, and it's an analogy that falls apart quite quickly if you dig into it too hard.
Sure.
But it's the phrase, God can win with any hand,
Oh, okay.
right? You know, if
Sure.
you're playing poker and you've got
Yeah, yeah.
a mismatch hand and there's no way, like, doesn't matter.
Right.
Like if we're willing to see what he's doing and trust that he works things together for the good, of those who love and serve him.
Called according to his purpose. Well, so
Yep.
one of my best friends back in California, this actually came up. He didn't get saved until later in life. And we got talking about how much pain he caused and endured. And I'm like, bro, like, you don't understand what an amazing testimony you have and the ministry opportunities that you will have that I will never ever have, because I didn't live that life. I didn't
Mhm.
do the drugs. I didn't go out and party like you did. I didn't do those things. And you can go into people's lives who are struggling and you can minister in ways that I'll never be able to. So God's not wasting that pain.
Yep. Well, and even people like that help people like you or I who really haven't experienced some of those things to understand where somebody who has, where
Oh
they're
yeah.
coming from,
Oh, absolutely.
to be more
Empathetic
Christ-like in our
to them,
attitude
and
towards
yep,
them. Yep. Yeah, for sure.
absolutely.
Let's see. So my question was, how to under how can understanding trade-offs help us make better decisions? I don't have this written down on the side of the screen or anything.
Okay.
Uh, I think personally, one of the things that it does for me is that it helps making decisions, like the path for decisions, easier, because if you think about it properly, rather than going, well, these are both good, good options, it
Yeah.
helps me go, that's okay. I can pick one of them
Yep.
and realize that, yes, I'm giving up certain things with the other, and not get stuck in the analysis paralysis, at least as badly, because
That
now I
is,
can go, it's
yes.
okay that I gave up something else because I determined that this thing was better overall.
Mhm. Or at least better suited at that moment, or whatever
Mhm.
that, yeah, prioritization is. Oh, I feel slightly guilty on this one, because we pulled you away from your harvesting of firewood last week. So
That's right. Yeah.
our bad.
Sorry. Yep.
Uh,
Hopefully you can get caught back up on that. But maybe I guess you felt like being on our podcast was more important than
and we
getting.
appreciated it. It was a
We
great,
did.
if you didn't get a chance to catch last week's episode, go, or week before last, actually, because we took last week off. Um,
Yep.
Go back and watch the one with Rocky Pines.
Yeah, it's Vic from Rocky Pines
That's right.
Homestead. Yeah, he was on. I think it was last week, wasn't it? It was the week
It was
before that we
2
had
weeks
on.
ago, yeah,
Yeah,
because last week my grandpa died.
yeah, that's correct. Um, let's see. What are some examples of real world trade offs? We've talked about a few. Do you have any others that you've come up with or that you've kind of noticed?
I mean, gosh, so many aspects. What job you take is a trade-off. What Who you marry is a trade-off. I mean, like, you really want to dig into it. It's like any aspect of anything, where which house I bought. I could have bought, there was a couple houses on the market and I chose this one, which means I have different neighbors than I would have had. It means I have a different frontage than I would have had for the shop. It means they're different trade-offs. This one just um met the needs that I foresaw the best, and so
Mhm.
I chose it. Would I have, and this is an interesting one. Would I do it differently now? Well, maybe, but that's because I know things now that I didn't know before, so I have different information than I had, so my priorities may have shifted. So, yes, I may have chosen differently, but I'm gonna use what I've got, to the best of my ability. If presented with the opportunity to move again, would I? Maybe. Again, it's going to come down to, well, is that better than staying where I'm at?
Mhm.
So it's always a trade off. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the things that I think of as real world examples is getting too many irons in the fire.
Oh
There's a
yes.
balance, right?
Balance.
And
What's that?
there should be.
I don't know this thing that you
Yeah.
speak of.
As you can see from the bags under my eyes and
Yeah.
not getting nearly enough sleep last night, um, to try to meet commitments that I've taken. Um, it's there is a balance, and there's a point at which, maybe my trying to provide for my family is going too far to one side
Mm,
financially, as
sure.
opposed to, if I'm unable to tell my kids goodnight and see them like 3 times a week,
Yeah. It,
sure, they're financially taken care of and their
but
stomachs are full and they're getting really good food,
right.
but
But
they're not getting the love and the attention that they need.
yep.
And I'm not going to let them starve. I'm not going to let them not
No.
have enough, but they don't need nearly as much as we've come to think that they need. And sitting in my arms at night, talking, playing apples to apples, watching a dumb YouTube video
Yeah.
about Legos
Right.
and snuggling is way more important than, did they have an extra $100 of disposable income to throw at their birthday party this year.
Right.
They don't care. They want us.
Well,
And to
yeah,
the
because I mean, at the end of the day, what are they actually going to remember?
Mhm,
Are they going to remember, oh, at that birthday party, I had, extra cake or an
right.
ice cream? Or is it like, no, I had my dad every night.
Yep.
He read me bedtime stories. I remember that. Yeah.
Mhm,
No, they're going to remember those things.
right. And, even but then again, it comes back to, okay, I do also wanna have enough financial independence that I'm not a burden to them when they're
Sure.
older, right?
Sure. Yep.
They're not taking care of me in a way that they shouldn't be when when I'm too old to take care of myself, or,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, it comes back to that trade-off. And I literally am sitting in a non-roadworthy camper to do this podcast
Right.
because I can't sit in the house because I can't do a lot of the work that I do in the house because it's actually kind of harmful to them. It's like, well, dad's inside, but he doesn't want to be with me.
Sure.
Right. Um, and so, yeah, everything with kids and with raising your children is this constant balance of how do I show love? How do I be careful when I'm around them to let them know that they're cared about? How do I correct them in a way that's loving?
Right.
Um, this is a bit personal, but there's been some times when God has like corrected me about something, like
Sure.
spoken directly to me.
Yeah.
And my experience has not been, oh, he's mad at me, or,
No.
oh, I'm going to get crushed.
No.
It's like I was just corrected in such a firm but loving way.
Perfectly loving. Yes.
Like it's incredible. Like really broke me down
Oh, yeah.
emotionally, like just about sobbing because
Yeah. Yeah. It's devastating and encouraging all at the same time, I guess.
yeah, it's like his love has this weight to it. And when you actually experience it, for those who have, it's hard to explain.
Right.
Um, and it's
You
only
really
happened
know.
for me a few times, but I know what it is. Like it's ridiculously obvious. And to the extent that I can emulate that for my kids, that's
Mm,
what I want.
sure.
For them to hear that's not okay, but then also to know that they're deeply loved, and I would
Yeah.
only say that if I love them.
Yeah, but nothing you
Um,
can possibly do will ever change how much I love you.
yes. Yeah, it's not a balance that I think that I've done well, but it's a balance that I seek towards, and it's kind of like running that marathon, or
Right.
running that long distance that you didn't think you could run, but you're looking at the thing that's further out and going, I'm going to try to run to that thing,
Yeah.
to that standard,
Yep.
and hopefully at least getting, you know, as far as you were originally hoping. So, yeah, but it's a hard balance to walk.
Mhm. And again, community, having surrounding
Mhm.
yourself with other, families,
Yeah.
people who are grandparents who've been there, done that. Like, okay, let me help you in that endeavor.
Yeah. I mean, picking up on the wisdom of our elders
Right.
is something that we've completely abandoned. We've got the science, and the science tells us what to do.
Right.
and where to go. And as long as it's wearing a white lab coat, it's the science.
That's
And you can't criticize it.
the dumbest criteria for truth ever.
Yes. Yes. The worst criteria for truth, and the worst criteria for science is not the scientific method.
Questioning everything always.
Questioning everything and proving your hypothesis wrong.
Yeah, that's the endeavor. Yeah. Anyway, yes.
I don't think that can not come up in one of our episodes.
Nope.
In each of our episodes, can it? I'm trying to think of any other examples of trade-offs that we could riff on a bit, but too many projects at once has always been an issue for me because I'm interested in different things.
Oh yeah. And none of them are bad.
Right.
But we can lose sight of best in pursuit of too much good. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because we don't, because I think you and I are fairly similar in that we have varied endeavors, and they're all, none of them are bad inherently, but they can very easily take over our minds and our resources and our everything, and then we just turn around and go, wait, what happened to everything else in life? We kind of just stopped.
Well, it's this concept of being a polymath, and the more you understand different endeavors, the better you can understand the one that you most want to understand.
Yeah.
But it's getting back to that, always having that thing, whether that's, and it should be family.
Yeah.
It should be community.
This is the motive force. This is the center thing. This is the reason why I need to know that.
Yeah. And propelling them towards, a more right relationship with God, towards a more caring position. And sometimes, as a father, that more caring position is being a little bit more stern, or being, in some cases, it depends.
Yeah.
And we need community, we need the wisdom of our elders to get there.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times somebody walks all the way down the road and they get to close to the end of that road, and they've seen the whole thing, and they can tell us parts of it.
Right.
They can give us directions. Yeah. Watch out for this giant pothole. Or whatever. There's a hard turn here and there's ice on it.
Well, and that's why the Bible is just described as a lamp that shines. It shows us those stumbling blocks. It shows us those, and we need to stay in that so that we know the truth.
And interestingly, this is in that passage, which I think everybody knows what you're referring to. The idea is there's two different lights. There's one is a lamp unto my feet, and another is a light unto my path.
Yeah.
And the lamp unto your feet gives you, this is what I need to know in this instant.
Right. It's directly straight down, not out there.
If I'm not constantly paying attention to this, I'm going to stumble, I'm going to trip. But the light unto your path has this concept of, it gives you a bit of information about the future.
Yeah.
Gives you some insight into which path to take, how to take it, and kind of where you're going. And I think there's different seasons and different times when we're given different information that is valuable for that season and that time, and to be aware of that as well.
Yeah. It's really easy to get caught up in the idea of, I'm trying to get to that destination. It's not about that destination. It's about the path that he's guiding you in. I like science. I akin it to vectors. He course corrects us. He pushes us over this direction and over that direction, because what we don't know is that there was something that we were going to trip up on, and he was trying to guide us around.
Yeah. Well, it's like, if I wanted to get from Nashville to Dallas, I know I need to head mostly east, but a bit south, right? Or west. I'm sorry, mostly west, but a bit south. And I can head that direction, and I can get really close to Dallas and just overshoot, and eventually
keep on going
further than I was from Dallas when I started.
Yep.
And so if I'm not consistently reading my map and just driving
and course correcting
west, southwest, I'm like, I'll hit it eventually.
Nope.
Uh, yeah. And so we need that constant course correction. And especially as we get closer to our target, we need to be more aware of what the target is. And yeah, there's rarely a straight path. It's almost always that you're going to need to make adjustments as you go.
Yeah. Well, and then we'll carry that over into, well, you're not on the same path that I'm on, so therefore you must be wrong because this is the direction God's got me going, so therefore that's the direction you should be going too.
Mm-hmm.
No. He's God. He's got different plans for each of us, and that's
Right.
okay.
Yeah, and that comes back to community, right?
Yep.
You know, between the two of us, you're more geared towards preparedness. You're probably more ready to go out on a wilderness hike and do well at it. I know enough to get myself really far back
I'll
on a
say
trail
you'll
and
be
stuck.
fine.
It's like 4-wheel drive. It just gets you further back before you get stuck.
You get stuck in a worse place.
So, you know, there's that, and I'm more towards the homesteading
Mhm.
preparedness as far as food is concerned, you know,
Mhm.
and that's both of those are still a fairly narrow niche
Yeah.
that kind of go together. But you know, somebody might be really, really good at spreadsheets.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Oh,
that's actually a really valuable skill.
my wife is a Excel like genius. Like, yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, because there's so much you can do with Excel. I have a
it's amazing.
estimating sheet where I can literally plug in anything, monkey with the numbers for a while, and come because I used to do estimating for a
Yeah.
couple of different companies. I could come within about 10% of whatever the project was going to cost pretty
Mhm.
consistently.
When I had
Um,
my biomedical firm, I had built a calculator. I could walk into an ambulatory surgery center, and with a couple variables, how many OR suites, how many recovery beds, I could bid their entire, the maintenance of all of their equipment. I didn't
nice.
need to know what equipment they had because I had figured out basically what they had and what it would take to take care of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So when I used to work in the low voltage cabling industry and bid
yeah,
out jobs for that, I had started work like it's kind of a funny story because I had started working with all the what is it? It's like all these companies that put in the Wi-Fi and the you know the end devices, but they don't put in the
oh,
cabling,
okay,
right?
yeah,
So they put in the computers, they put in the switches, whatever, but they never do the cabling, which is a weird disconnect for me.
it really
But
is.
anyways, I was working with these companies because they needed somebody to put in the cabling for them. And I was like, wouldn't it be helpful if you just had a spreadsheet where you could plug in the number of cables, the
Yep,
length of the cables, and if there was any, you know, coring you had to do. And
sure.
between a few different items, it would spit out a number. We'd pad the number just a little bit
Oh yeah,
because you're paying for the convenience of having a spreadsheet and getting a quote by yourself.
right.
And so I started giving it to these companies with, you know, with the blessing of the CEO.
Nice.
And it was starting to go really well. And then they fired me and kept using the spreadsheet.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
oh, not cool.
So, you know, I
Yeah,
should have been more smart and locked down the spreadsheet with a password they didn't know.
right. Well,
Anyways,
my dad did that like back in the day before Excel even existed. I don't remember what the predecessor was called. But anyway, he could go in and bid a whole house doing electrical work on a whole house in like minutes. He's like square footage, how many linear feet of wall. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, he could like, oh yeah, this is how much it's gonna cost. And he was like really close. Like and it will give him a cut list. Like it would tell him you need to order this many receptacles, this many switches, this many lights, this many like everything.
nice.
It was brilliant.
You might know this person.
I do know this person. This is my beautiful wife. Who, if you watched the episode with both of our wives, you would see. So go back and watch that episode.
That's right. So
Yes,
Megan
choose your
says,
hard
yeah, all things have limitations. Choose your hard.
because it's true. Everything is hard in one way or another, and so choose your hard. What it's either you're going to have a hard life or you're going to do the hard work. I go and exercise or get used to having issues with mobility. I choose your hard.
Right.
There's a
Yeah,
trade-off.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I chose my heart a long time ago where I decided to change my diet radically rather than living with constant muscular and health issues.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. It's not
You're
hard
right.
now, really. I
No,
actually prefer it, but
sure.
yeah,
You've gotten
it,
used to it, and
yeah,
yeah, you've seen the so causation and causality are, I think, something that we incorrectly use. We jump the gun too often, where we'll go, okay, this is the bad thing. I changed this, so therefore, when it got better, that must have been the bad thing. So, well, that isn't necessarily true.
right.
There's two, especially when it comes to, I think, health. It takes a lot longer than to actually see out results. Now, some things are pretty darn quick. When you stop eating toxic things, your life gets a little bit better. But then you have the weirdness of, like, when you eat a lot of bad things, and your fat is filled with those toxic things. When you
Mhm.
burn that fat, you release those bad things, and now you get sick again. Like, well, and then you stop. And you're like, well, wait, what happened? I thought I was
Right.
eating healthy, and now I feel, cruddy again. But I'm eating healthy. What happened? Well,
Keto flu.
yes,
Keto flu
exactly.
happened.
It does, and I've been there. I've done that. That one
Mhm.
sucked.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, it's a trade off.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
and it takes
feeling
time.
better than feeling better in my 40s than I did in my 20s by not eating Oreos and a few other things. It's worth it. Oreos aren't that good. I know they
But
seem good, but they're
they
not
they
that good.
are though. I love my Oreos. Don't take that from me.
I'm not. That's your choice. You choose your
I
hard.
choose my heart. Exactly. Well played.
Yeah, I mean, it really is worth choosing the right hard, um choosing those things intentionally
Yeah,
and living a better life for it. And you know, one of the things that I think coming back to community is
yeah.
having somebody in your community who is, I don't know, 400 pounds. And I literally have this, who was 400 pounds and decided to radically change their diet to basically meat
Wow.
and, see them lose that weight, have all their numbers go back to what they should be.
Right.
They're buying new pants all the time.
Awesome.
Like seeing that and sitting in a campfire with that person and hearing their testimony, which we all kind of think is this like specifically spiritual thing, which
No,
well, in a sense it is, right?
it
But
is, but no, but yes.
yeah, in another sense it's like the word blessing. I think we've Christianized to such an extent that like you hear it and you go, "Yeah, okay," but the reality is that our testimony is just saying, here's what we've experienced.
Mhm.
Here's our anecdotal experience,
Yep.
personal experience.
Mhm.
And to see somebody's testimony of, I went from 400 pounds and barely able to move to, I'm healthy, God's made the body to recover itself, you can do this too. And
Right.
sitting around a campfire with that person, getting to hear that story, there's so much. And whether it's a literal campfire or metaphorical campfire,
Right.
but literal campfires are great.
Oh, yes.
Um, there's so much value to that. Just sitting with somebody else,
Mhm.
hearing their story,
Mhm.
hearing them talk about where they came from, where they're at, what they're learning, what they're
Mhm.
still dealing with,
Right.
and sharing that vulnerability is, it's really priceless.
It really is. It truly is. And I know we keep harping on the whole community thing, but that's really because it's really important
Hmm.
to have those people around you, surrounding yourself with people who get this, and are who desire this, and are pursuing being healthy, and living life the way that God intends us to live, and doing well with this world that God's given us. It really is important.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even, I think, especially in this day of age where we've got, you know, we can get in arguments in a split second online with somebody who might just be a bot anyways.
Yep.
and get really wrapped up in that. And maybe we're just misunderstanding because you can't read tone in text. Or
English is it's a spoken language. It is a horrible written language.
yes, yeah,
I've said that for years. I will continue saying that for years.
Absolutely. But even if it's not English, right? Like,
yeah,
sure, you're great at Greek and you can communicate in Greek, and you've got 5 different words for all the words that have one word in English. Still doesn't mean you're going to communicate properly. So, and I think to some extent, sarcasm had to be invented because the English language is so bad.
Yep.
So anyways, yeah, that personal interaction, personal groups, seeing that, having that kind of give and take of maybe you're not so crazy because you believe this thing that you're being told isn't true.
Right.
Or maybe you're a little too on the fringe on this one. And here's some logical.
One of the wonderful things that I've had having the shop is I've had lots of people from, we'll say every side of the political spectrum into the shop, seeing beyond the politics, seeing the person, seeing the heart behind the person. I can relate to, I can understand, I can be friends with people. It's the false dichotomy that's being shoved down our throats that we become, I think, angry about isn't quite sufficient. There's a venom, there's a disgust almost that is prevalent, especially in the online community. It's like, I'm sorry, just like you said, just sit down at a campfire and talk. This is a person. This is someone created in the image of God.
Unless they're bot.
Unless they're bot, and in which case they can just.
In which case you don't want to interact with them. So
they're
not a bot if they're at the fire with you.
Exactly. Yes. So
not yet, at least.
Not yet. Oh yeah. No cyborgs. No.
Sorry. No, that's really very true. Very true. And one of the things I've noticed, and this is just a bit of an aside, but what I've noticed, because I do spend a lot of time with people from both sides of the political spectrum, even though I think it's a false dichotomy.
Yep.
Is that each side is actually functioning using the same words and meaning different things, which is again a problem with the English language,
yes,
but also a problem with our mediated society. And so if I say the word, let's see, what's a good word? Capitalism. If I say the word capitalism.
Oh, we're going to have fun. Okay.
Yes. We don't even need to dive into what you or I think of capitalism. If I say that, the person on this side and the person on this side who've bought into this false dichotomy
think entirely different things.
Very different meanings for those words.
Yep.
And so they'll start arguing about those words, or arguing about
the idea,
but not realizing that they're talking about something entirely different.
Right.
Both of them both of them actually coming from maybe an improper, but at least ethically defensible place. So it's not that they're bad people. It's that they've been trained to think that a given word means something that somebody else doesn't think it means. And so you could go on and on. An example would be, I went to college with somebody who, it was a while ago, but she was posting about justice in scripture.
Oh, okay.
And what it became really clear was that she was inserting her specific understanding, which was social justice, which again is one of those.
Yeah, right.
Either side is going to have a very different understanding of what that is. But she was imposing additional language on the concept of justice. So whenever she read justice in the Bible, she was imposing her specific concept, modern concept of of
Yep.
justice on top of it. And it's like, oh, I see where, and if we were sitting at a fire together,
We
maybe
can
it
have
would
it.
get, I'm not going to get heated, but maybe
Yeah.
that person will get mad at me. I don't know.
Why
But at least we,
hermeneutics is so important.
yeah, at least we'd have the opportunity to go, I would be able to say, well, that's not quite how I see it. I respect what you're saying, but I think that there might be some implications on top of how you're interpreting that
Yeah.
that are a modern concept and not what was in the text.
Well, and it in the dichotomy is in and of itself a trade-off.
Mhm.
Where working off of a given set of values or ideals or information, you arrive at a certain conclusion as to what is the priority. Well, when you vary what information is being that you're receiving and you limit it to a specific subset, yes, you're going to end up having a um, more radical opinion as to what the priority needs to be in either direction.
Mhm.
Sheer bias is sufficient for that. Just bias alone will result in hyper radicalization in any direction. It will. It
Right.
has to.
Mhm.
So it's really important to understand that you are the product of trade-off. The way you think is a product of trade-off.
Mhm.
And that's why it's so important to go back to the Bible as a absolute source of truth, not a subjective source of truth.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think constantly studying to get to the point where, like, further and further understanding what the cultural context of the thing
Yeah,
was.
hermeneutics is like it's really important to understand who actually wrote this, who did they write it to, why, what was the culture of the time. Like all of those things play into it. We don't read any other or even have this conversation the way that for whatever reason we parse the Bible. The way that we read into the Bible and just try to conflate it with our modern ideologies or our modern understandings of like you wouldn't read Little House on the Prairie that way. Why are
Mhm.
you reading the Bible that way?
Right.
You wouldn't read right?
I mean, some people do, though. I mean, some
Well,
people
that's true.
read Little House on the Prairie and think, what a patriarchal jerk Pa was, or whatever. And it's like because he wouldn't let Ma go to work, or
Yeah, right.
whatever. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but
Point taken
I've
though.
heard
Yes.
stuff like that,
Sure.
where it's even fairly recent, and you look at somebody who was, to be honest, if you if you read Little House on the Prairie, um, that for the time would have been considered quite progressive, the way that their household operated,
Oh, yeah.
and the father being probably a lot more gentle and giving than a
That would have
lot
been
of,
normal.
yeah, or at least would have been, maybe, yeah, there would be, yeah, we'll put it as then that would have been normal. And now from our current standpoint, it's judged as
Right.
patriarchal and not kind or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. So we've got a few comments we could run through here.
Hey, I like this
Here's
one.
Vic.
Vic he's on my side.
Says don't distill Oreos. Yeah. I'm going to, because they're terrible.
They are.
They're really terrible. There's even like the alternative Oreos that you can get that are better. They still got vegetable oil, hydrogenated vegetable oils and things. Also, was it Visicalc? Does that sound
one
familiar?
of them. I don't remember if that's what he used, but I do remember that one. Boy, that's going back there.
Yeah. I wonder when XL came out? How did we live without it?
I don't know.
Such a simple program.
It really is, but it's so powerful. You can do so many different things with it. It's great. And pivot tables are awesome.
And Vic also says he doesn't regret coming on. No regrets.
Good.
I appreciate that.
If anybody's in the Arizona area, he needs some firewood, so go help him.
Yeah, go help him out. Speaking of community.
Yeah, right?
There was this really interesting, it was a documentary. Nobody will have ever seen it, I'm sure. because it was some obscure thing through a denomination called Missionary, was it Christian Missionary Alliance?
Oh
So
yeah, CMA.
CMA
Yeah,
Church, yeah.
yeah.
But they put out this video, and it was on. They called it like the Red Suspenders Brigade.
Okay.
And so the idea was there's these people who were part of the church who were going out and cutting firewood. So they'd
Oh,
find somebody who had a tree that, like a oak tree or ash
okay.
tree or something that died or fell, and they'd take it down safely. And so
Okay.
there's this kind of group, and they'd cut it up, split it up, bucket, whatever, and haul it off to people's homes who needed heat for the winter but didn't have the ability to either prepare the wood or buy the wood.
Yeah.
And it became this thing in the group that once you have been a part of it, I think is like 2 or 3 times, you'd be gifted a pair of red suspenders. And so you got to be a part of the group, and it
Okay.
was everybody would wear these red suspenders, and it's
Aw,
hokey and funny, but it's such a cool idea.
sure.
Like, we somebody has a problem, which is they've got a dead tree on their property. Somebody else has a problem, which is we've got they need heat for the winter
Right.
and they don't have enough wood, can't afford it. And you've got somebody in the middle who's got chainsaws, time, because it
Yep.
was
Your
largely
problem
older
becomes your
men.
solution.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the problem becomes your solution, but the community is the only way that that happened.
Yes.
And people who are willing to sacrifice a Saturday to help somebody else out got the benefit, the trade-off
Right.
of becoming part of a community that was willing to sacrifice for each other. And so that's where you've got, it's like socialism, but it's by choice,
Right. The
right?
way it should be.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like socialism isn't a bad idea in like, day-to-day interactions, but it has to be by choice.
Yes.
And that
Well,
makes
and
it
that
kind of not socialism.
yeah, it doesn't because really it comes down to freedom.
Mhm.
Freedom isn't free. It comes with responsibility.
Right.
It, responsibility is the front. You have to have the responsibility in order to have the freedom. So we are responsible, and I it's the church. The
Mhm.
church is responsible. They ultimately the church should be that role. The church
Right.
should be the one that's stepping into that void, going, "Hey, no, we're going to own this one."
Yeah, I remember something about widows and orphans
Yeah,
and
something about that. Yeah.
the
Well,
least of
and
these.
like one of the guys in our church, he's headed up a ministry where they're building beds for kids who don't have beds
Cool.
because apparently there's a whole bunch of kids that don't have beds. I'm sorry, what? So we're like, okay, fine, we're gonna make beds, and so they'll get together on a Sunday every afternoon or whatever Saturday afternoon, and they'll build like 20 bed frames. Like,
And I bet they didn't go to the government to petition for materials.
nope, all
No.
donated,
Right.
time, materials, all of it. Yep,
Yeah.
awesome. Do
Yep.
that. Find a niche, whether it's feeding people or clothing people or providing beds or cutting down trees or doing yard care. There's a whole bunch of little old ladies who need yards, kept.
Yeah.
We live in Middle Tennessee. We have to mow our lawns often. What a great ministry opportunity that is.
Hmm. Yeah. And such a simple one, too.
It
I mean,
is.
if you've got a 10, 12-year-old boy and you can bring him with, it's like, here you go. Go.
Go.
Here's a push
Just
mower.
yeah, right.
Not to run over anything important.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Hopefully, he'll still be a blessing.
They might not
Yeah.
have you back, but that's
Right. No, and so there's this people talk about like karma, what goes around comes around,
oh,
all that. There is biblical precedent for this. So there, that's the new age kind of
yeah.
interpretation of it. But Jesus says, whatever, don't be deceived, God is not mocked.
Mm.
Whatever a man does
Oh,
will receive.
so yeah,
Whatever
what
he
he sows,
sows.
he'll reap. Yeah.
Yeah, right. If I sow seeds that are for beans, I'm gonna get beans. Might be not, they might not be identical to the beans I got them from, right? Maybe they cross pollinated with another bean, but I'm not going to get back, thorns and thistles from it,
Sure.
right? If I sow thorns and thistles, well, down the line, that's what I'm going to get back. And I think that's put out there there's an eternal perspective to it,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
not everything comes back at this moment. But just a way I put that into practice, and this was not trying to like test God or put him to the test or like demand something. But when I was building my businesses, and I still am, but if I would have like a time where I was really struggling to get jobs,
Yeah.
like I'd go out and plant the seed of helping somebody else who needed something.
Sure.
I'd find I had some time on my hands, so I'd find somebody who
Right.
had a need and fulfill that need.
Mhm.
And
Which is a trade-off.
it's a trade-off. And I didn't expect that I would necessarily get something back from it.
No, you
but-
don't do it for that purpose, but
Right. But realizing that the seeds that we're planting, the kindness that we plant, hopefully we'll get kindness back.
pass it
Or-
on or whatever, however you want to look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe somebody else receives kindness because we gave kindness.
Yeah.
That seed might be in somebody else's soil, but it doesn't return void.
Right.
So yeah, and it comes back to community.
Absolutely.
For me, that was when I had those jobs that I would go and do. I would reach out to my community and go, hey, does anybody, try to keep it small, because I don't,
Sure.
And I'm specifically not saying what I did or for who or how many
Mhm.
times or whatever, because I don't want that to be public. I don't want that to
No.
be
That's not the
out there.
purpose.
No. But I would reach out to friends or other people in my community who I knew could be trusted and just say, do you
Yeah.
know anybody in need who my skill set could help?
Yeah. I'm available. I
Mhm.
have a certain set of skills.
Correct. So yeah, that's I think that's important to
It is.
understand that
And don't undervalue yourself, because I don't know who all's listening, and I don't know what the skills that they have,
Mhm.
or the more importantly, I don't know what skills you think you have. One of my favorite expressions is your greatest ability is availability.
Mhm.
Just being there, whether it's sitting with a little old lady or getting her groceries out of the car, whatever it is, you have way more abilities than you are probably giving yourself credit for.
Yep, absolutely. So we're running long here, but I do have
Yep.
one
Yeah.
little story of, not that we came up with the hour.
I know, right? It's all arbitrary.
Right. But I have a story. The guy's name is Toby, and
Okay.
I don't talk to him maybe once or twice. I don't know if he even knows who I am, but he's part of a community that I'm a part of. And he had been kind of part of some of these MAG groups or mutual assistance groups.
Yeah.
And all the people around him were like, the tactical preppers and the people
Okay.
who, were all geared up for whatever.
The zombie apocalypse.
Yes, the zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
And he's like, that's not me. I don't have this gear. I don't understand how to use it. I'm not prepared for doing this.
Okay.
And he also didn't necessarily have a lot of hard skills, but what he realized is he had the skill because he had been a purchasing agent for Dollar General.
Oh.
And so he
Interesting.
had the skill and the knowledge to work with these wholesalers to get really good prices on things.
Sure.
So free plug to him. He runs, what is it? It's Mylar Bags. I'm trying to think of the name of the website. Discountmylarbags.com.
Okay.
So
Nice.
if you're doing like dehydrated, freeze-dried foods,
Oh yeah,
which
right.
a lot of preppers are doing, he knew
Dude,
how to
yeah.
get these bags at a steep discount, like high quality bags at a deep discount.
Nice.
So he realized that he had this skill of using, knowing how to interact with wholesalers and other sellers, and even direct to factory, and
Mm-hmm.
get really good prices on bulk items that were really useful for the people he knew. So
Sweet.
he wasn't gardening, but he was giving people who were gardening an option for, or raising meat or whatever else,
Sure.
a much better, higher quality, less expensive option for preserving those things. And so then he started looking into like how to best help people think about preserving things, because you or I might think, oh, we need to have this like we've got a ton of rice and we're
Yeah.
gonna vacuum seal this giant bag of rice for in
Sure.
case we ever need it. And he's like, no, use more small bags, because as soon as you open that 5-gallon thing of rice,
It's
it's
all
gonna go,
open. It's
it's
all
all
gonna go
open.
bad.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's gonna go bad before you even have the time to use
So
it.
1 pound bags, 3 pound bags. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So he's realized that he has skills that are actually really valuable
Sure. Oh
that
yeah.
you wouldn't initially necessarily think of when everybody around you is like, I'm ready for the zombie apocalypse.
Right.
And that's really, really important. And that's where these different skills in the community come in,
Oh yeah.
and realizing that you have value and your skills have value, even if they don't seem really cool.
Yep.
'Cause
Oh, absolutely. Honestly,
talking to a supplier isn't all that cool.
and you talk to anybody in the military runs on supply line. Like, if you don't have adequate supplies and infrastructure to supply it, the military stops. Dead stops. Like, I
Mhm.
don't care how cool you are and all your comms and all your guns and all your what, if you can't get from point A to point B, you're done. If you can't get food from point A to point B, you're done. If you can't, like, all of that is super, super critical and important. That infrastructure is incredibly valuable. So
Yep.
yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense.
Well, and even, thinking of, we've talked about this before, but the idea of having the skills to plant a garden and to know how to grow it,
Right?
like uh, seeing somebody who's got a survival seed bank but doesn't know how to,
Has never actually
doesn't
planted anything.
yeah, doesn't know if that thing even grows here, much less
Yeah.
improve the soil to grow it here.
Right.
Or
Or what plant
the
with what and when.
yep. Or another one that I feel so bad for her. This was years ago. I helped a lady who's preparing for Y2K clean out her
Oh,
house that she had to sell.
yeah.
And she had,
Was it the
it was,
Aladdin lamps?
yes, she had
Oh, I had a
all like,
friend, he did that, like, he had, like, 40 Aladdin lamps. I'm like,
yeah,
"Bro, what are you doing?"
yeah, she had like 50 of them, and she
Oh,
had oil to fill about 10 of them.
oh, no.
She had like 3 gallons of oil, I think.
Sure.
And it's like, you know, somebody who knew a little more could have come along and said, let's focus on the oil. Maybe you need 3 of those lamps,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like, and maybe you need 50 gallons of oil.
Yeah.
Like these are the wrong ratios. So again, somebody with the right insights could have saved a lot of pain and cost.
Mhm.
And that comes through community.
Yes. Yes, it does.
But had the zombie apocalypse come, she would have had a really bright house for an hour or two.
For an hour or 2, yeah. Could see it from space. No,
That's
the
right.
zombies can also see it, but,
Would have been really warm too.
what if?
Anyways, anything else you can think of on trade-offs or have
Everything
we
has 'em.
killed this horse
I think we have killed this horse.
multiple times over? So I hope everybody gets something from this. Just the
Yeah.
idea that everything has a trade-off. There are no solutions, as Thomas Sowell once famously said. When you're thinking about what you're going to do, whether it's preparedness, whether it's homesteading, whether it's just making a basic decision, realize that whatever you're doing, you're choosing against something else.
Yep.
And it's like there's a place where it's worth it. But just realize that that's what you're doing.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, Jared, could you tell us what you do, where people can find you,
Sure.
all that jazz?
all the fun stuff. All right, so I got the ticker going. Okay, so you can find us at resilientliving.com or on Facebook at Resilient Living or on Instagram or on TikTok at resilient_living. So basically, I've got a store. I'm right on 111 between Spencer and Sparta. In our store, we have books, we have um, ammunition, we have knives, we have survival blankets, we have freeze dried foods, we have um, camping stuff. So I got like little camping, like backpacking stoves and water filtration systems and all the fun outdoory kind of things that you might want to have in case of an emergency or just to be prepared. I've got a bunch of medical kits. My previous occupation was in the medical industry, so medical is really important to me. So I've got first aid all the way up through tourniquets and some IFAC stuff. So yeah, so that's my store.
Yeah, it's the say this in jest. It's the car store where when you go inside, it's way bigger than it looks up from the outside.
It looks so small from the outside, and yeah, I've heard that a lot. They're like, wow, it's a lot bigger in here.
Yeah,
Yes, I know.
so much stuff too. I like to think of your shop is. Have you ever seen the videos of that people do that are like, I read Bill Gates's latest book, so you don't have
So you don't have to. Yeah, sure.
Your shop is like that to me.
Oh.
Right? It's like I did all the hard research, so you don't have to. You can just come in and pay me.
I enjoy doing the research, and I strive to find the best quality product I can for as cheap a price as I possibly can without sacrificing the quality, which is a difficult endeavor. There are certain things that I think are worth spending the money on. One of the things that I'm potentially going to be moving into, aside from the firearms stuff, is do you have Darn Tough socks? Or have
I've
you
heard
heard
you
of?
mention them. I don't have them.
So I've got a
Apparently, I
couple
need to
pair
try
now.
it.
I love them. How often do you have a sock that has a lifetime warranty? I
I'm
mean,
pretty certain I've never had that.
exactly. So you could literally buy a couple pairs of socks and you can wear them out and they'll just give you new ones. So I want to become a retailer. So I could be that person. Like, so if you've got a worn out pair of Darn Toughs, you could bring them to me and I can, give you a brand new pair. And
Awesome.
which I think would be good because it's one of those things that like it's worth the money. I mean, yeah, they're more expensive, but they're also made in America in Vermont. So you're supporting another American company that's owned by the same family for the last 100 years. Um, and they're a good product and they actually stand behind their product. Like SE knives. I love SE knives because they're made in America. They're good quality products. They stand behind them for life. You can hand that down to your grandkids. They're still going to replace that blade if you ever break it. So
Cool.
there's a couple manufacturers I'll die on that hill.
Absolutely. And that's again a trade-off, right? You've
It
got
is.
the fast, good, cheap.
That's it. Pick two at best.
Yep. Yeah, pick two or something. Yeah, so you've got that triangle. The triangle is the trade-off, right? You can only move the slider around, and you can't have all three.
Right. So how about you? Where can they find out more information about you?
So I've got the homesteadconsultant.com really is kind of my launching point. You can find my information there or on YouTube. I've got the Homestead Consultant on YouTube, or you just look up the Homestead Consultant and you'll find me on YouTube. That's kind of my biggest one. I've got some others, but I'm not pushing them because it's not worth it.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. So my big thing is I like to help people set up homesteads, and I won't work with somebody if I don't feel like the investment you put into me working with you will, unless it will pay back well more than what you paid for it. I won't work with you, just to be blunt.
Well, I like your approach. You're really good at creative, problem solving. And so like, hey, I've got, I want to have water up here on this hillside. Like, okay, well, let's figure out how to get water or keep water up there. And so, that you're incredibly skillful at that.
Yeah. Creative creative solutions for problems that's kind of my biggest niche for sure. So yeah. Anyways, if people want help homesteading or want to ask me questions, reach out to me there.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank
Alrighty.
you everybody for tuning in. Thanks,
Yes.
Jared, for being here with me tonight again.
Every
And
every time.
we are trying to do this every Tuesday at 6. I think we've
That's
missed
the goal.
one
Yes.
so far since we started. So
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think this was
No.
this was like 13 or 14 something, 15. I don't know.
something like that.
It's up there. We're getting
We
there.
need to get the audio stream on actual like Apple
Um,
iTunes so people can listen.
Yes.
So
That's
instead,
next.
yeah, because I don't think people necessarily want to watch the conversation, but listening is something you can do in your car
That's true. That
or
is
mowing
true.
the lawn or whatever you do.
Right.
Cool. Well, thanks again, Jared, for being here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Alrighty. Later.